Wiggle, wiggle.
Like.
Hey, Muffin here. I want to give a special shout out to Anakin BLITZ on YouTube. He does have his own YouTube channel. Go ahead, check it out. I'll put the link in the description below. He helped put the replays together for me, compiling them, and will be showing you the subscriber request of how many E100s it takes to take on 7 SU-152s. Now, there's different cannons you can choose from both of these tanks. I don't necessarily force players to choose one or the other. The classic cannon with the 152 is the 152 millimeter, but there are some players that do prefer the 122 millimeter on the SU. So they could use whichever they wanted, whichever one they thought was the most deadly. I see, or it looked like when we were doing this challenge, that most people were using the 152 millimeter cannon. So both tanks having pretty derpy guns. In this first round here, we could see that the E100 didn't stand much of a chance. Now, I think with Anakin's editing software, it kind of stretched the screen a little bit. So if you've ever seen that classic Vladimir video, like wide version of him kind of walking down the hallway with the music, that's what this kind of reminds me of. So apologize if it bugs you a little bit, but the E100, also, like I said, having a pretty derpy cannon. And one thing that I've mentioned in some of these challenge vids when doing different types of tanks versus different types of tanks, like heavies versus destroyers or lights versus heavies, there are some really crucial aspects. So the E100 are just heavy tanks in general compared to tank destroyers. They have a lot more hit points. So, and tank destroyers typically have just a lot less hit points. So in trying to balance this out, see how many it takes and whatnot, does skew and have a little bit of a difference. I did do a challenge vid of how many E100s it would take to take on 7 KV2s. So we're going to see if it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, if more E100s are needed against the SU-152s, or if more were needed when we did this challenge with the KV2s. So another big difference here is the E100 has the ability of turning its gun, has a turret, where the SU-152s don't have that ability. So it makes them a little bit more stiff, harder to play with, needing to completely come around a corner, turn in the direction of the tank, and fully exposing themselves to get the shots off, which could put them in a bit more of a dangerous position. So just seeing if 2 E100s can do it. You could just see those E100 shells just knocking these SUs out almost in one hit with their ability. Using that HE round very smart in those weak spots. So with 2 E100s was quite capable of taking out the 7 SUs, but we're now going to completely fill the training room with E100s and SUs in the next vids, or in the next games right after this one, to see how it turns out. Okay, so 2 E100s. Now we've got 2 E100s versus a whole room of SU-152s. This one may be a bit challenging. It did seem fairly easy when it was 2 E100s versus 7 SU-152s. This one, now there's 5 more. Depending on who wins, we'll add 1 more of that tank to the team that loses. So SU-152s just going far enough over that we can just start the battle. Here we go, closing in for the kill. Now you'll have to let me know, in situations like this, would it be more fun to be on the team that has more tanks but just the weaker tank, or the more stronger, higher tiered tank but just less of them? Now the thing about the derpy cannons that I do like, especially when it comes to the SU-152, when shooting an E100 that has such thick armor, if you don't have that penetrating shot, you can still switch to an HE round, and because you do so much damage, that HE round is still going to be able to shave off a decent amount of hit points, which is nice. Now with the last video I did that was War Thunder, Tiger versus Shermans, I had a lot of people afraid that I was completely switching to War Thunder. That is not the case. Just incorporating some War Thunder vids in the channel because I just love tanks. Thought it would be really cool. Love the realism that War Thunder offers, but being a die-hard Blitz player for 6 going on 7 years now, I don't think I could ever give up on Blitz. So anyway, the game's already ended. The SUs are basically just kind of finishing themselves off. That's just how we finished the game. So E100s weren't quite able, the E100s weren't quite able to pull through. So now we're going to add, in this last round, another E100 and see if the E100s can do it. So there was one SU that was AFK. I'm not sure if he lost internet. So technically in this game, it's 3 E100s versus, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10 SUs, which now 9 SUs. This actually turned out to be a pretty good game. And oof. Now, really smart of that E100 going up on a frontline position. It's really giving the other 2 E100s eyes on the other SUs. allowing them just to take shots, really drain their hit points. So still 3 of the E100s alive, and 1 is down. So now we're back at 7 SU-152s versus 2 E100s. If you want to help out with any of the vids I do, War Thunder or World of Tanks Blitz, join my Discord. Make sure you get the movie crew roll. That way you get the announcements on when we put these rooms together. Having to be careful with their shots here. Got to be real careful they don't miss. SU's just waiting for that opportunity for them to not pay attention, peek out, and get some of those shots off. Ooh. And another E100 is down. So 1 E100 versus 4 SUs, now 3 SUs. Like I said, really good game. It actually probably worked out for the best. One of the SUs was AFK. But as we're seeing it here, maybe that AFK SU was needed. They are struggling a little bit. That is the hard thing about doing some of these maxed out training rooms, is you do have to use some of the time at the beginning so that the enemy tanks can get over to where their team is, or at least far enough away before you can actually start the round. Really smart, trying to keep one in front, have the other one come around the back. He is trying to back up. Ooh. And I think the E100s were able to pull through. Unfortunately, there was not enough time, but honestly, great games. Thank you to the subscribers. Hope you guys enjoyed the vid. This is the Muffin here. You guys stay cool and keep tanking.